Hello, everyone. It's nice to have us here. It's been a hectic week, and yeah, sure, a lot of us have been doing a lot of things, and we've been going through um, and what we've been taught, which is actually the best form of thinking that we can have. I want to welcome us to today's section. It's nice to have everyone here. Especially want to start making some recognition. And of course, and this is week what? Anybody with the right answer? What week are we? Yeah, if you know your week, if you know the week we are in, you can just put that on the comment section, so I know that you are actually following both with the week and with what we're doing here. So it's nice to have you on board. It's nice to have everyone here. I want to specially recognize Jane. Jane has been one of our best trainee. She's always joining. I want to specially also recognize the Abuja Library people. So we have a group of students in Abuja Library, amounting to over 10 of them, that goes to the library every Saturday just to have this connection. Um, so they can learn. So it's very important. They leave their comfort zone in their houses and come to the Abuja Library and have this thing. So today we are just going to. I don't want to waste much of our time. Please keep it real, keep it tuned. We're going to be having amazing prizes for most of us that are joining. So we are always looking at everybody that is joining, and we of course amazing prizes for you guys. Okay. Yeah, still yet nobody has sent me the week that we are today. So you need to send me week what are we on our training, okay? So that we can I want to know for sure if you are following the week, and I need somebody to also send me when we started this thing again, just to refresh our memory and see that we've done a lot and we have gone far in this. So I'm going to be bringing our facilitator for today on board, who is going to be taking the section. So stay tuned and join. Don't forget to send all of your questions. Yeah, Jane said week six. Week six? 6 weeks? So don't forget to send all of your questions on the comment section, where we are going to attend to all of them. So Jane, if we're in week 6, when did we start this training? I'm hoping to see your answer. Of course, somebody is going to win an amazing prize from me. Get your answer ready. If we are in week 6, when did we start this training? So yeah, Mr. Abdul Martin, are you ready for us?
Yes, yes.
Oh yeah, you have the floor.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another web development class. Last week I wasn't here. I think was it last week? Yeah. I wasn't here. But right now I'm here to answer all your questions you have. So if you have any questions, just drop them in the comment section. And we are going to continue from where we stopped. We've gone so far. We've done different tags in HTML. We I have introduced you to how to use the HTML tags, the H1 to H6. Um, we've also gone through lists. We've gone through another list, ordered list. We've also gone through how to close different tags with closing tags and tags that are self-closing, just like the image tag we've done. Yeah, we've gone through the image and how to add links to our web page using the anchor tag. Also, how to get an image from our websites, from different websites or online, and also adding those images down to our website without having to download those images inside our website. I think last week we also did different lists, the list tags, how you can make your list ordered and how you can make them unordered. For instance, the ordered one is numbered, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, things like that. While the unordered ones are they are not numbered, so they're just used they they used bullet points are used to note them. Please, if you can hear me, can you put that in the comment section that you can hear me properly? Please, if you can, please put that in the comment section.
We can all hear you properly.
Okay, okay, okay. So far, so good. So I'm going to continue from the different tags. I'm going to share my screen right now, and we are going to continue from just to take a brief of what we've done. I'm going to show you all the tags we've done, and then continue from there. So I'm going to share my screen now, and yeah. So I this is the um, HTML. Sorry, this is the Sublime text which we've been using. So this is Sublime text which we've been using since we started this web development journey. I also told you that we have different other text editors and IDEs. And if you can remember, I told you the IDE is an integrated development environment or a place where you write your code. And Sublime Text is one of the text editors we can use in writing our code. And so this is just the Sublime Text with the HTML file. So we have index.html here. And remember, I said if you're writing, like if we are trying to develop an home page, we use to save that home page, we use index.html. But if you're trying to develop other pages like the about page, you can name it about the HTML. Do you can name it anything. It's just a convention of how we name things in HTML. Um, so let's just get started in writing some of the HTML tags. And remember that this is going to be suggesting some things for me. So the first that we're going to write it is HTML, which I said is the mother of all tags, container where all the tags are going to be inside. Okay, so once I write the HTML, it's going to bring out this simple snippet down here. So let's say the title now is lifelong learning. This time I'm going to give the title lifelong learning. And title is the tag. Remember I said here in the head tag, most of the things inside the head tags are not going to show on our web browser. They are only going to be here just they're just information about our web the page you're writing or the website you're writing. So this is where, for instance, if I want to link down to my CSS, which we're going to see very soon. We've seen some of this. We've talked about attributes, like the source, the alternative for images. So we talked about different attributes like href, which is the reference for the anchor tag. We're going to see that again today. So this title is going to be, if I should open my browser here, this title is going to be somewhere. I hope you can see my browser. And this title is going to be somewhere here. So, as you can see, for instance, this Google Chrome web browser. Yeah, that's where the title is going to be, and that's the only part you're going to see in the web browser. So the remaining part you're going to be seeing in the web browser are going to be written inside the body. So you can continue. inside our body, I'm going to write, let's just give it an H1. So we have an heading. Sorry about that. H1, we have an heading. So the H1, let me just give it a lifelong learning as the title of our page. We're trying to, let's say we're trying to create a simple web page for the lifelong learning. This is the H1 for the lifelong learning. I'm going to try to open this in my web browser, and do not forget that once you've written all this, you need to save. So the way to do that is to either click on Ctrl S, which is the shortcut for save, or you go down to File and you click on Save. But instead of going through all those trouble, just you can just click on your Ctrl S, and that will save it for you. And once you've done, I am going to try to open this using my browser. And as you can see, we have the lifelong learning here. Okay. So let's say I want to, I don't. So now we're going to start. I'm going to be introducing you to what we call CSS, the cascading style sheet. Okay. That's the full meaning of CSS, cascading style sheet. Like the HTML is hypertext markup language, which is the markup for your markup of your page. The images, the writings you're seeing on your page, those are HTML. While the CSS is cascading style sheet. The designs, centering of text, and different other things are done using the CSS. So there are ways to write the CSS. Is either you create a different file to write your CSS, or you write, let's say, this style here. You write it inside the style tag. So you can see I can either do this, like write it inside all my styles would be inside here, inside the style tag, or I can write it inline, like my style should be inside style as an attribute. I can do style, and then I can put in all my styles inside. Let me enlarge this so you can see it properly. Either I do it this way, which I'm going to write the styles
Yeah, I'm sorry since we are having connection issue or network issue with Martin. For those of us that are asking what are we doing, this is the web development class. We're supposed to do Scratch, but I think it's just a typographical error. It was meant to be a web development class. So yeah, let's continue.
Sorry about that. I had some technical issues. Please, so far, if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat box so I can answer them. I am going to continue from where I stopped. Please, if you don't understand or you have any questions, please just drop them in the chat box. Okay. Um. So as I was saying, I was talking about CSS. So I said the ways we can write CSS is either we do the inline CSS or um, we link our CSS. We go to we put our CSS file in another file in the CSS file, then we link to that CSS file using the link tab. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. So back to Sublime Text. So I was thinking about the style, and I said you can either write the style this way, which is inline CSS. We can write it this way, or we can write it inside the style tag. So we have a style tag, and we can write it in there, or we can link to our CSS file outside. We can link to our CSS file outside the HTML. So this is called inline, while this is to another file. So we are linking to another file. So let's say the name of my CSS file is style.css. I can link through this link, then it tells me this are called attributes. So the href, the type, and the relation. This is relation. So the relations having to this is called the style sheet. The style sheet or the type is text slash css, and this is linking. This is going to be there, and I will just maybe let's say I name my css main.css, and then I'm going to put main.css there. Then that's automatically linked to. It's going to automatically link to my um css file. Okay, so let's get started with the css. So as I was saying before, we have this H1 tag with the lifelong learning. And as you can see, the lifelong learning is going to be, once I open it through my browser, the lifelong learning is going to be on the left. So for instance, let's say I want to center this lifelong learning. I want to put it at the center. I don't want it to be um, on the left also. On the left again, I want it to be at the center or I want to be at the right. I can do that using my CSS. Okay, so let's get back to it. And inside the style, I am going to write the property and the value. So inside the style, then I'm going to write the property and the value. So let's say I want to do text align, the property and the value should be center. And once I'm done with that, I save. Then I go back to my lifelong learning, I reload, and then it takes the lifelong learning down to the center. So that's how you start writing your CSS. For instance, if I don't want to do that, if I want it to be um, outside this place, so I don't want to write it inline, I want it to be outside the HTML. I don't want to combine my CSS and my HTML together. There's what we call class and ID. So the difference between like this class and ID is just to you're trying to identify a tag, okay? You're trying to give a tag a name. You're trying to identify that tag. So the difference between a class and an ID is that uh, an element like this H1 for instance can have only one ID. If I have like four H1s my website my website, I can give that H1 the each I can give that H1 one class. So I can give all the four H1 just one class, but I can't give them one ID because my ID is unique. So each H1 should have a unique ID, and each element in the HTML or in these websites should have a unique ID and not like class which you can give those for the same class. For instance, let's say I name this H1, I give it a class of heading. I can give another H1 the class of heading or another element I want a class of heading. But let's say I give it an ID of heading and I try to do that to another H1, it's going to have a problem because you can only use ID just for only one element. So now let's give it a class. And the reason we are trying to identify this, the reason we are trying to give it a class is because we are trying to get it in our CSS that, okay, in our CSS now we're now going to say this is the class I am giving this design to, or this CSS style or this style to. For instance, this H1 now I want to say it should be in the middle. Now after giving it a class and say the class is heading, so the class I've given it now is heading. So in the CSS file, what I will now do is that I want to give this heading um, um I want to make this heading be in the middle. How am I going to do that? So now the first thing we're going to do now is to create a style sheet. So I'm going to create one. Let's try create one. I'm going to open a new file, then Control S to save. It's going to open this place. Then I name it style. Remember, I can name it anything I want, but the convention is just naming it style.css. I'm going to save that. Then after saving that, I will go back to my HTML. I'll try to link to this style sheet. So I'm going to link to the style sheet. Then inside this href, since it is inside the same directory, Since my style sheet and my HTML is inside the desktop, I can just write style.css here. But if it's not inside the same directory, for instance, let's say it's inside the document, I will first say document, then slash, sorry, document, then slash, because it's going to go inside my document first, then go and get my style sheet. Because it's inside the desktop and my HTML is inside the desktop, that's why I'm just writing style the CSS. But if it was inside document or it was inside the picture, I will write um I am going to write the path to it. So let's say for instance inside document, and inside that document is inside another folder called CSS. So I'm going to write CSS, then I'm going to put slash, then it's going to get the style. So this is saying go to documents, then after you go to documents, go to the CSS file, and after going to CSS file, then there's a sorry, go to document first, then go to inside the CSS folder. Then after going into the CSS folder, there's a file named style.css inside the CSS folder. I want you to get the style, the CSS file inside the CSS folder. So that's what this means. But because it's inside the desktop, I don't need to do that. I just need to write style.css. And now I have linked my style with my HTML. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save it, then go to my style sheet. And because now I want my style, my H1 to be in the middle. If I should go to my browser now, I go down to my browser and I go to lifelong learning and reload, my lifelong learning is back to where it was at the left. But now I want it to be at the center. So what I'm going to do is go to my style, write heading. Remember our H1 is heading. So there is a difference again in style sheets between classes and IDs. If it was ID I wrote, before I write the name of the ID, I have to write hash before writing the name of the ID. But since it's not an ID, it's a class, I have to write dot. So I'm going to write dot first, then I'm going to write heading. Inside the heading, I am going to write the squirrely braces. Then inside the squirrely braces, this is where I am going to put my style. So now this is saying go and get this heading, this class. Go and get it. So after getting it inside this place, then I am going to give it the text align. Remember the text align I gave it before, and I am going to say center. So text align center. Then I'm going to save, and after that, I will go back to my lifelong learning and reload, and that's it. It's back to where it was, which is the middle. Um, okay. I hope we don't have any questions so far. We are all understanding. If we have any questions, please put them in the chat box. So let's go back again. And yeah, I want to do another thing. I want to give my body a different color. Let's say I want to give it the color blue. So the thing I'm going to write now is body. I can there's another thing I can do here. Instead of writing the tag, instead of writing the class, I can just decide to write the tag. But the reason we don't do that normally in CSS is because we might have more than one H1 tag. So if we have more than one H1 tag, let's say let me give you more than one H1 tag and then write another H1 tag. Yeah, let's write another H1 tag. Then I'm going to write let's say I write for the arena, and I save this. And yeah, I want this lifelong learning to be in the middle, but I don't want Codorina to be in the middle. But this is what is going to happen once I am done. So this, if I reload this, and let me okay, I think we're back. So as I was saying, we have lifelong learning here in the middle, and we also have Codorina here in the middle. But I don't want that to happen. I just want this lifelong learning to be in the middle, only the lifelong learning to be in the middle. So that's why I am giving it a class or an ID. So I can give this a different class. Let's say I give it a class of um let's say I give it a class of second heading. I can give this class of heading, then this the second one should be a class of second heading. Then in here I say heading. Then remember, when I'm writing my class, I have to put a dot first. So I'm going to write heading here. So in here I've put in heading, then I save, then I go back to um my website, and you can see lifelong learning here is in the middle, while Coderina is no longer in the middle. The reason that happened is because I am just targeting one class. So I'm just targeting only this heading class, but not the second heading class. So if I want the second heading class to be in the middle, then I can write second heading and also give it a text align of middle. So I can also write second heading and give it a text align of middle. But if I should write my tag and I write H1 and I give it a text align of center, it's going to take all the H1. If I have like 100 H1s in my web page, it's going to take all those H1 and give it and center those H1. But if I just want to target just one, I can give that one either a class or an ID. And I just mentioned the difference between the ID and the class. Okay, so if I should say dot second heading, and let's say I want the second heading to be at the right hand side, I'm going to do, remember this is where I'm going to put this, then I'm going to do text align, then right, text align right, then I am going to reload this. Sorry, I did save it properly. I think I didn't save this properly either. I think there's a problem here. Dot second heading class dot second heading. You have to check if the spelling is correct, or else nothing is going to happen. So text align second heading. Let's try that one more time. Sorry about that. I think there's an issue. Second heading. Yeah, it's correct. Save, save. Okay, yeah, that's working properly. I think the reason it didn't work earlier is because I did not save. So remember, if you didn't save it properly, it's not going to work. So you have to make sure you save your code properly for it to make it work properly. And now I am going to give my body like color, a background color of blue. So I can do body, and remember body is a tag, so it's taking. I did not give my body a class or an ID, so I'm just going to take this tag because we can, in a website you can only have one body, so you don't mind taking the body tag and using that in your CSS. I'm going to give it a background color, so a background color of let's say blue. Save that. I go back to my website, I reload, and as you can see, the body of the website is blue. It's no longer white, it is blue. Now I can give it other colors too. I can give it different other colors. Same here in my heading. I can come to my heading, and another property you're going to see is the color property. So this color property, what it's going to do is that it's going to change the color of my text. So the background color is going to change the color of the background, while the color is going to change the color of my text. And I can change the color of the text to, let's say, white. Since the background is blue, I can change it to white. Save that, give it reload, and now the heading is white, while the second heading is blue. The reason, because we are only targeting the first one, not the first and second, just the first one, and you're telling it the color is white and not um another color. So we're not giving it another color, we're just giving it white. So I can also give this another color. I can say color, then I can give it, let's say green, and I reload, and as you can see, the lifelong learning is white while the Corderina is green. Okay. And the reason it's called cascading style sheet, remember the reason this is called cascading style sheet is because it starts from top to bottom. So it's going to read this text from top to bottom. So for instance, let's say here I write dot heading, and I give it a color black. What is going to happen here is that it's going to read this body, then it's going to give it the background color of blue. Then the next thing it's going to do is read this heading. It's going to say heading, then color black. Then it's going to give it the color of black. Then go to the next line, saying heading, text align, center. So that means you should center the text. Then after that, give it a color of white. Then second heading, text align right, then color green. So this is what is going to happen. Let's save this and go back and reload. And as you can see, this is still white. Reason being that it starts from the top, give it the black color first, then went down and saw white here, then decided to give it a color of white. It's because it's going from top down to the bottom. So it's cascading. That's why it's called cascading style sheet. Before we move on, there's something I want to show you, which is called commenting. So I can comment something out. This is the shortcut to comment is clicking on control and forward slash on your keyboard, and that is going to comment your code. So the reason for commenting is that it is telling, commenting in programming or anywhere is saying that I am just trying to like describe what this code is doing. For instance, if I want to tell you that this is an heading without allowing my website to run the code. Okay, I don't want it to run this code. I just want to tell it that this is an heading. So what I'm going to do first is write this, the exclamation mark, dash dash, and I'll write heading and dash dash this. So as you can see here, if I should run this and I go back to this place and reload, you can see it's not showing because it's a comment. It's just to describe that this is the heading. So if I don't want this to show anymore, I can just click on control and forward slash and it's going to comment it out, and control S, then go, then reload, and you can see it's not showing anymore because in programming or anywhere or HTML, it doesn't run comments. So comments does not run. It's just looks at it and pass through and say, oh, this is a comment. I don't need to run this. So it takes this as a comment and takes this as a comment. If I should remove this now, if I should remove this comment, let's remove the comment and click on Control S and I reload, it's going to show edging here because it's not commented out. So I did not give it, I did not say, oh, this is a comment. So it's going to run it. Okay. So if we have do we have any questions so far? If you have any questions so far, what we don't understand, what we understand, please put that in the chat box so I can answer them, both from last week and this one we're currently doing on a CSS, on HTML. If you have anyone, just put them in the chat box. Um, we're going to continue. Let me remove that and Control S. Okay, so I've commented this out. I don't want it to show anymore. So I'm going to write a paragraph. Remember the p tag, so we want to write a paragraph, and we have to put that in the p tag. And here I'm going to write uh, my name is Drew Martin, and I am a lifelong learning facilitator. I love reading and coding. Okay, so this is the H1 saying lifelong learning, and this is a paragraph saying my name is Abdul Mateen and I am a lifelong learning facilitator. I love reading and coding. So I'm going to save this, go back to my code, go back to my browser, reload, and as you can see, it's saying my name is Abdul Mateen and I am a lifelong learning facilitator. I love reading and coding. I can now, since I have only one P here, I can decide to give it a class or an ID or decide to just use the P. So let's give it an ID. This is how to write ID. Then I will say, um, let's give it the ID of bio. So the name of the ID is bio. So if I want to style this now, I go to my style sheet, go to my style sheet, write hash. Remember, before you write an ID, you have to write hash. Before you write the class, you have to write dot. So that's the difference between, that's another difference between class and ID. So I'm going to write bio, and inside the curly braces, I am going to give my, I'm going to increase the size of the text. So I'm going to write font size. This is another property from font size. So the font size is to increase or decrease the size of my text. So I want to give it a font size of 20 pixels. Remember, we've done something like this before when we're dealing with images, where I said we can use pixels to to differentiate size, to tell size. So we like it's like our units for size, like we do 20 cm. In our mathematics we do 20 inches, things like that, to measure length. This pixels here is to measure our size here in HTML or in CSS. Once I do Control S, I go back, I reload. Oops, I don't think I saved properly here. So I go back, I reload this, and you can see it became bigger. So my name is Abdul Martin. I'm a lifelong learning facilitator. Became bigger. I love reading and coding. So I want to give it other styles. So there are other styles I can give it, like font size. Now I've given it font size. I can give it a font family. I have a font family in mind. We have different font family. You can get your different online on Google Fonts. So if you go online and research, you can get your different fonts. So I am going to give it a font called Helvetica. I've given it a font family. The next thing I want to give it is, let's say, we have something called padding. So in CSS, there's something called the box model. Okay, so in CSS, there's something called the box model. This is to measure the space between um your text, your different elements in your website. For instance, we have something called padding and we have something called margin, which you're going to know the difference between these two right now. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to show you later on how I got there. Let me just so, so you can just right click on your browser and click on inspect, and it's going to bring you here. So here you can see this. This is where the box model is shown. So we have here, we have what we are, like our elements. Like this, my name is Abdul Martin. I love and I'm a lifelong learning facilitator. I love reading and coding. This is it. After that, we have the padding. So the padding is the next space after our element. Then after that, we have the border. Then after that, we have the margin. Okay, so let me give this a border. So the way to do that is just to do border. Just this is just an explanation. I'm trying to explain something. So that's why I'm giving it a border right now. I'm going to give it a border of 2 pixels solid. Don't worry, you're going to understand this better later on when I'm done with this explanation. I reload and you can see this border right here. So our margin is going to be outside this border while our padding is going to be inside the border. So that's the difference between the margin and the padding. So we have our element, which is this. We have the padding, which is inside the border. We have the border itself, which is what you're seeing here, and we have the margin, which is outside the border. So if I should give you the padding now, let's give the padding of 10 pixels. I reload, and as you can see, it has given it space inside the border. So the border you're seeing here, um I want to make it thick. If I want to make it thicker, I can change this number down to maybe 5 pixels, 6 pixels, I can say 10 pixels. So that's, I am measuring the thickness of the border, and this is telling it that I want the border to be solid. If I want it to be dashed, I can write dashed like this. Let's save, and you can see it is dashed. But if I want it to be solid, like a full one, I can write solid, and I reload, and as you can see, it is solid. Okay, someone said to me VS Code is better because it has extension like live server that you can use to stream your code live on the browser. Yes, exactly. Um, I am just using VS Code, though there are other better ones. I'm sorry, I'm using Sublime Text, though there are other better ones like the VS Code, which has this live server. So the live server is used to like um instead of me saving, coming down to my browser, doing all that. Once I save, it's going to reload on my browser directly. It even has live share that me and someone else can um me I can be coding on my system, someone else can be coding on my system, and the person is going to be saying what I am doing. I am also going to be saying what the person is doing on my system. So VS Code is a lot better. But let's just continue with Sublime Text. Sublime Text is also sufficient for what we are trying to do now. So from where we stopped, now I gave you the padding, sorry, and we have padding. Here we have, as you can see, this four corner here. We have the padding top, we have the bottom, the right, and the left padding. So as in our CSS, we have padding top, we have the padding right. So if we want different spaces here, we can do that. So here now, what it's doing is that it is giving the top 10 pixels, it is giving the bottom 10 pixels, it is giving the left 10 pixels, and also giving the right 10 pixels. Okay, so this is what this is doing. So I'm giving all the four corners 10 pixels. But if I don't want that to be, and I want to give, let's say, um the top and the bottom 10 pixels, and I want to give the right and left, let's say, 20 pixels. So I can do this. So this is saying top and bottom, left and right. So if I should save this and go back, do this, as you can see, this is giving top and bottom 10 pixels, left and right 20 pixels. I can also write margin. Remember, the spacing, padding and margin are almost the same thing. The only difference is that padding is within the border, inside the border, while margin is outside the border. So I can give it a margin, and same as padding, we have the margin top, we have the margin bottom, we have the margin right, and we have the margin left. Okay, so if I would just want to give every corners um every side, it's like, let's say I want to give every side 20 pixels, I can just write margin and put 20 pixels, and this is what is going to happen. Once I click on save, it's going to give every side 20 pixels. As you can see, it gave this part 20 pixels, 20 pixels, 20 pixels, and 20 pixels. So that's what the um box model is about. So we have the content, we have the padding, the space within the border, we have the border itself, and we also have margin space outside the border. Okay, so we've done font size, we've given our font family, we've given it a border, we've given it padding, we've done margin. I hope we all understand all the parts we've done right here. So if we want to give our background an image, though I'm not going to do that, I just want to show you how to do it. We can just go to background image, then we do URL, and inside this URL we write the path to our image. Though I don't have an image right now, which I that's why I'm not giving it an image. But this is how to do it if you want to give your website a background image. If you want to give your website a background image, you can do something like that. um let me write the anchor. Remember the anchor tag. The anchor tag as it's like you're linking to another website. So the A, you have the href, and let's say I want to link to Google. I write w https then www.google.com, and in here I'm going to write the text which I want to be visible. So which text do I want to be visible on my website? I want to write Google. Even if I don't write Google and I write my name there, let's say I write Abdul Martin, I save, and I go here and reload. Then you can see the Abdul Martin in blue. Once I click on it, it's going to take me down to Google website. Let's go back. So there's in the anchor tag or in the link, there are two states. The state is the first one is when it's not visited, the unvisited state and the visited state. So as you can see, before I clicked on it, it was in blue. But after clicking on it now, it's purple. So the unvisited state, it's going to be the color is going to be blue. That means I have not clicked on it at all. And once I've clicked on it, it's going to be purple. So after clicking on it multiple times, it's not going to change its color to any other thing. So it's just visited and unvisited. That's how you're going to know whether um, a site has been visited on your web page or not. Okay, so so far we've gone through the HTML tags. We've gone through CSS, how you can write your inline CSS. That means you're writing your CSS within your HTML page or inside your HTML tag, and also how you can write it outside your HTML tag. We linked down to our CSS file. We created a CSS file outside the HTML file, and we used the link tag to link down to our HTML tag. And I think we've done the basics of building a website. We've built a simple website. What we just did now is building a website for the lifelong learning. Okay, so if we have any questions so far, if we don't understand anything, we are coming to the end of this class. So if we don't understand anything, we can put it in the chat box, and I will answer them. And for your assignment, I want you to just create a replica of what we've done. Give Don't give it a background of blue, give it a background of give it another background. I want you to put an image inside your website, put different things like we've done list before. So create an order list, an unordered list. So create that, put an image in your website, give your website a background, give it a link to another page. Okay, so just create a simple lifelong learning. So let's see what you can do with your newfound knowledge. Once you've done that, you can send it down to hello@coderina.org. We've come to the end of today's session. If you have any questions, even after the class, you can send it down to hello@coderina.org. Okay, that will be all. Okay, can we put an image as our yes? You can put an image as your background. You can put an image as your background, just like the way I showed you. The you use the background property, background image property. Sorry. Then after using the background property, background image property, then inside the URL, you're going to put yes. That's what answer or dasa, odosa. We can put you can use an image as your background. Okay, you can put an image as your background. Okay, so that will be all for now. See you next time. Bye bye.